Hello, everybody. Josh Neighbors here for the Locked On Big 12 podcast. October 13th, 2021. It's Wednesday night. This video, I actually did not plan on recording, but due to events today, I feel like I had to. A story came out from the Oklahoma Daily, the OU Daily, rather, the student newspaper at OU, that Caleb Williams got a majority of the reps with the first team players, the first team offense in yesterday's practice on Tuesday. All right, on Tuesday. This follows reports and also admission by Lincoln Riley that Spencer Rattler, the starting quarterback being the year, missed practice on Monday. He got the day off. That doesn't sound like a very believable explanation, but we'll take him for his word for it. Even notwithstanding, Caleb Williams got a majority of the snaps, according to two student reporters, Mason Young and Austin Curtright, at the OU Daily, the student newspaper at Oklahoma. How'd they get this information? Well, the journalism building overlooks the practice field, and they watch practice from there. Practice was closed to the media, but the OU journalism building overlooks it, so they went up there, charted plays, and discovered that Caleb Williams was getting a majority of the first team reps. After this happens, and it feels directly related, but what happens is Oklahoma suddenly canceled all their media availability prior to Saturday's matchup against TCU for everybody, not just the OU Daily. That is how it went down. And this story is really interesting because, number one, a lot of people care about the situation happening at OU, right? The quarterback situation, we did a video about it the other day. It's got, it's approaching 2,000 views. The podcast episode I posted has done really well. It was who's going to be the number one guy, who's going to be the starting quarterback, Caleb Williams or Spencer Rattler. Put a Twitter poll out, and that got some good traction. Hundreds of people voted who's going to be the starting quarterback. This is a story that people care about. And as somebody who was just in student media, I graduated from Missouri in 2019. I worked at the student radio station for 4.5 years. I was a sports director for 2. Journalism students they're diligent. And I've worked with a lot of newspaper people. These kids went and got a scoop. They went and they used resources available to them. They didn't do anything illegal. Going and watching practice in the journalism building, despite practice being closed, is not illegal. And they got this information from that. I've heard some people say, hey, well, why wouldn't you just say it's a source? Number one, that is not truthful. Number two, would anybody watching this podcast, in this video, trust a 19 to 20-year-old reporter who said, hey, I've got a source that's saying Caleb Williams is getting a majority of the starts? Well, that's what we thought would happen. We would thought Caleb Williams would get a majority of the starts, or the snaps rather, with the first teamers. That it's finally reported. People care about it, and so the student reporters got that scoop and they tweeted it out there. The reaction should have been, all right, we've got this information now. Let's move on. We know he's going to be a starter, and this is the story. Instead, Oklahoma canceling media availability for everybody else makes no sense. It makes it more of a story. It looks like either the administration or the team or whoever is being very petty. All right. They're being extremely petty. So, you wouldn't trust a 20-year-old reporter with that information like I talked about before. So that's why those kids admitted to watching the practice. And sure, Oklahoma administration and the team might not have liked that. It might have liked that fact that they were watching, and when the practice was closed, but also it's not illegal. What they did was not illegal. They didn't break any laws. They didn't break any rules. They just got a scoop and they reported accurately how they got that information. They watched practice from the journalism building, and that's what they did, and they got a story people cared about. So we should just move on from that point. Canceling media availability for everybody else makes it, number one, a bigger story, and number two, frustrates a lot of people who don't need to be frustrated. If the OU administration has a problem with the way the OU Daily is doing business, is the way they're getting stories, they should go and talk to them. They should go and say, hey, we have a conversation for the next media appearance, whatever, about what happened there. That's fine. You can go ahead and you can do that. But cutting everybody else off, making sure everybody else can't meet with the players or the coaches, whatever it is, because of this story, that's absolutely asinine. It makes zero sense. It's ruined a bunch of people's plans for stories and how the coverage of the team is going to be this week. And if any way, shape, or form you think the college kids are on the hook for this, you're ridiculous. Joe Castiglione is apparently going to meet, according to Kerry Murdoch of Sooner Scoop. He's going to meet with the kids to talk about some stuff. What's he going to talk about? What is he going to, these kids, they're journalism students. When they're I know that OU Daily is a student newspaper, but when you cover it, you're taking it seriously because you want to be in this profession as you go down the line, because you want to be taken seriously. So if you're a hack who's in the pocket for OU while you're a student there, why should I respect any of your work? These kids worked to get a story about the Oklahoma football team that people wanted to know. The complaints about, hey, they're out of their own team. When you cover a team, you're not like, this is my squad. You try to do it as objectively as you possibly can, because that's what people want from journalism. Would you guys want me on here in the pocket for Oklahoma, in the pocket for Texas? No, you wouldn't want that. And people have made those comments, and that's fair. I don't want to be covering Oklahoma and Texas for so long, but this story came out today, and the entitlement and the ridiculousness of it just shocked me. Who are the kids here? Is the administration for saying, no media availability, we're angry for everybody? Or are the kids who did a legitimate piece of journalism, are they right? I bet a bunch of you all follow Matt Miller if you're into the NFL draft. He said he'd hire these kids immediately. I've seen a bunch of people who cover college football saying support student media. This is great. This is a great scoop right here. This is just using your resources to get a story. They didn't do anything that was once again illegal or whatever. So the idea that somehow these kids are traitors to their school, or somehow they're messing up Oklahoma's chances this week, or they're ruining other people's coverage of the team is ridiculous. And so this story, it should. Here's how, if you're a fan out there, you should take it. You should see what happened, all right, and say, okay, these kids, got the scoop. It is going to be Caleb Williams, a quarterback. All right, let's move on with that idea now kind of basically confirmed as we move through the week. I know Lincoln Riley is really particular about the way that his practices are viewed. I know we all heard the stories last year about putting, fuzzing kind of the windows, whatever, putting, I guess, window panes in there that are fuzzy around the practice facility so nobody could see. I know he's really particular about it. But here's the thing. This kid just won you the game against Texas, all right? You're keeping Spencer Rattler on campus, who's been the starter and potential Heisman winner start of the year, and also favored to be the number one pick. You're keeping him on the team. People want to know what direction you're going to go in. I made the case for Spencer Rattler in the video, why he might still be effective for them moving forward. So I think, when I think about that, like, this is something that people wanted confirmed. Okay, it's going to be Caleb Williams. And moving forward with that being known, it's fine. You're playing TCU. Like, you shouldn't need any secret advantage to beat TCU. But that aside, if you're mad, if anybody out here is mad at the kids for going and doing this, you're mad at the wrong people. And I really just hope that the administration of Oklahoma, the people who talk about school, the journalism professors and deans back these students, because what they did, that is journalism. People complain about the media a lot these days, and people want fake news, whatever. What's less fake news than going and seeing something with your own two eyes and reporting it? How is that fake news in any way, shape, or form? So these kids went and got a story, not from it's even actually better than the source. These kids went to the source, the practice, not a person, whatever. They got to see the practice itself and get the story. That is journalism, 100%. That is media. That is honest. That is the opposite of fake news. It's saying, hey, we saw this with our own two eyes. We'll put our names next to it. We'll tell you we saw it with our own eyes. We saw Caleb Williams getting the snaps. That is journalism. That is honesty. And anybody who is mad about them for outing them or saying they're being dumb for going and getting a look or they didn't need to do it, no, people cared about this and they got the story. Anybody who's upset is either, I think the people who are upset are kind of linked to OU right now. If Joe Castiglione is upset, blame your school for teaching journalism too well. You want to get mad at them for that? Come on now. Their job is not to protect the school. They cover the team. They cover the team. Their job is not to boost the team. They cover the team. Even though they're school newspaper, they're still trying to learn the same values anybody is trying to get in the workforce. Anybody's mad at them, like your head is in the wrong place with this situation. These two kids committed an act of journalism, gave us a story, but we can't move on from it because, Lincoln Riley and Oklahoma have decided to make this a bigger story by canceling media availability, as opposed to saying, they could just keep quiet and say, hey, we haven't decided yet. We have not decided. I don't know that story. They can say whatever they saw, whatever, moving on. Canceling media availability is the worst thing optically you could have done. You could have addressed it and said, "We have not made our decision yet." They know those kids might have seen it, but they don't know what kind of drills, what kind of activities that we were running. They don't know what happened there, and we're still trying to make that choice, trying to make the decision. But instead, they said nothing and canceled media availability for everybody else. They look like a bunch of whiny children. Oklahoma does right now, and this is what frustrates me: is these kids deserve some respect. I've heard some people today talk negatively about the kids who got this done, and it's driving me crazy because we, in student media, we try our best to teach the values and teach how to get a story correctly. Yeah, media, wasn't allowed to practice, and this could have been, might consider it a gray area for how they got this information, but they got it. They didn't break any rules, and they told you how exactly they got it. Move on. They got the facts and just move on the situation and go ahead and play TCU this week if you're Oklahoma. These kids, if they lose their credentials, I hope there is an outcry from a lot of people. They should keep their credentials. They're covering the team. What they did today was honest reporting. And if you think anything else, I'm not sure what to tell you. All right, make sure you guys follow us on Twitter at LOBig12. You can follow me at Josh Neighbors _. Till next time, my friends, as always, stay safe.